you this. What would you rather feel, bored or content?
Oh, I'd rather feel content.
See, now once we get to that other side of bored, it gets really fast. Because obviously, casting a spell from a place of contentment is going to be more empowering than from a place of bored. How about between content or hopeful?
Well, to me, hopeful would come before content. But hopeful's always good.
To me, boredom, contentment, hopefulness is where I spend my healing time. Because it's usually when I'm bored, I'm like, oh God, aren't things ever going to change? And then I have to get to the place of little by little, well, things are what they are, and I am where they are. So let me be comfortable with some aspect of my life where it is right now. Then I can make the jump into, wouldn't it be nice if? But by the way, it's really hard to go from anger, I hate this, to, wouldn't it be nice if? It's really hard to go from depression to hopeful in a
Now,
consistent way.
now, I honestly, I don't think, and knock on wood, I don't think I've, and maybe at some point, I certainly don't remember, have been to that level of feeling that
Yeah,
way.
God bless. You mean on that level of depression.
Right.
So,
I usually, I've always learned to work, I've always had to deal with my own anger. So for me to recognize the anger, it's easier for me to switch sides, to jump, to push the seesaw over by my acknowledgement of that
sorry,
anger.
I just had this image of you kicking a seesaw.
Flip the seesaw over.
Screw the seesaw.
But when I realize that I've reached that point, it's like, oh, and it's like the clouds burst open, and it's sort of like I need to make
And you make a jump.
the switch flips.
Good. Well, and
You
that's
know,
that's kind of
but
where
that's
I'm
me.
that's where I'm trying to answer this question from, is a place of, don't go to your altar angry. Then can you go to your altar frustrated? Well, you can go to your altar at any time, but certainly your results are going to be different frustrated than angry. What I'm suggesting is
Absolutely,
that we can move
absolutely.
ourselves step by step up this scale, because then after hopeful, we've got optimistic.
I
And you,
wouldn't go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, and then if you cast from an optimistic place, you're talking about a much, much faster energy. And then when you can get to a place of love and appreciation
Right.
and joy, it seems to me that when I cast from that place, I've really even released attachment, because I'm so happy in the moment that I'm doing it. The real question is can I stay there? Because the level of vibration you cast from, you have to kind of stay on or near that vibration for it to come. So, for instance, a lot of people will cast, for instance, from the place of frustration. Well, I need this money and it's not coming in and it's frustrating, and that's fine. Because the craft isn't about, well, you better get it perfect. It's about you come as you are. This is a radical jump, but in the Course in Miracles, there's this wonderful statement that is talking about coming to spirit. And it says, do not purify yourself before coming to me, for I am the purifier. In that sense, in a craft context, it's saying that, look, don't get yourself perfect before you do your magic. Otherwise, you'll never do your magic. Don't wait until you're feeling good to pray. Go where you are, but be responsible as you go, and let that symbolic action that you're doing move you up the scale, so that if you do cast from a place of frustration, yeah, you'll get some return on your magic, because that frustration can have a lot of fire to it. But if you want it to come back in a better way than something that will continue to frustrate you, because so imagine you cast for money while you're frustrated. Well, that could certainly bring you in money as the result of, for instance, a car accident or an insurance claim where you have to go through, or for instance, filling out all of those damn forms to
Right.
get it.
Brings more frustration. It brings it in a frustrated
Way,
way.
exactly, because what you release returns to you, and people don't always get that that's vibrationally. So, and threefold comes back to you threefold. Yikes!
It
So,
needs more
the
frustration.
more you can up that and say, okay, well, I did cast the spell when I was frustrated, and that's where I was, but now I'm going to get into a place of boredom. If it comes, it comes. Who cares? I'm just going to do my best. Let me relax into where I am right now. You know what? I have a roof over my head. The sun is starting to come out little by little today. Oh, that feels better. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if this money just came in a way that was nice and easy?
Wouldn't it be lovely?
And then the spell can find you. And there's nothing wrong with amending your spell vibrationally as you go, or if you start at anger, move your way through to frustration, into bored, into content, into hopeful, into optimistic, into belief and positive expectation, which is incredibly powerful. Jerry and Esther Hicks talk about this recently. They've been talking about the vortex, the vortex of energy that draws things in, where when you are content, you're near the vortex. When you are optimistic, you are in the vortex. And when you are in joy and love, you are the vortex. And I think that's a really powerful image to work with. But understand, if you're depressed, you're a county away from the vortex, but that doesn't mean you can't take your step-by-step journey there.
You need to get angry to get yourself motivated to move
Absolutely.
closer.
Look, I don't have a problem with anger anymore, even though I grew up with very angry people and I was very afraid of what anger could do. That's something as a witch I had to confront. You can't cut that off. Well, first of all, repressing it will destroy your cell tissue. It will just create all sorts of illness. It's a bridge. It's something that you step by step your way through, because it's certainly more empowering. So, to really address Ashling's question here, to explain how emotions play in, keep an eye on them, work with them. Certainly I would recommend try some forgiveness work before you cast in anger. Try and lighten that up, because certainly the formula is true. What you release returns to you threefold. So if you launch something from anger, if you take a boomerang, set it on fire, and hurl it with all of your might, it's going to come around and not only chop your head off, but burn you in the process.
That's a pretty sight.
So be careful. Try and move it up the scale a little bit, and then try and live there.
Well, thank
in
you,
the
Ashley,
majority.
for
Thank
that.
you, honey.
Thank you very much. And great name, by the way.